Satellites are a modern marvel. They've changed the world in many ways, from giving us global communications to helping us with accurate weather forecasts. There are a lot of them, and we only have to get above the Earth's atmosphere to really appreciate just how many there are. First, we pass through the low Earth orbit, where the closest satellites hang out at anywhere from about 300 kilometres above us to about 2,000 kilometres. Then we have the medium Earth orbit, and finally the geosynchronous or geostationary orbit at about 36,000 kilometres away. Satellites can be tiny, like these little Earth observation satellites being launched by the ISS. Then we have monster satellites like the ISS itself, the size of a rugby field. And here we see a rack of Starlink satellites about to be deployed from a SpaceX rocket. There are currently just over 8,000 satellites orbiting the Earth at the moment, with most of them in the low Earth orbit. This part is popular because it's the easiest to access and the communications path is the shortest, so the latency is minimal. We're now descending through the low Earth orbit back to New Zealand, and it gives some idea of just how many satellites are visible at any one time. These satellites are very useful, of course, and have helped us in many ways, but when I see the huge amount up there, I can't help but wonder what the impact will be as more and more of them are launched. If everyone who says they're going to launch satellites does, then by the 2030s there may well be more than 100,000 of them above our heads. Satellite collisions are rare at the moment, but as more and more get put into orbit, the risk of collision goes up. When they do collide, they create huge clouds of debris that can smack into other satellites, posing an even greater risk. At the end of 2022, Leo Labs was tracking more than 22,000 separate objects in the low Earth orbit. They reported that 70% of those objects are rocket bodies, dead satellites, and fragments of satellites. In 2022, Leo Labs identified 836 conjunctions in the low Earth orbit. That means objects came within 100 metres of each other. These objects can be going nearly 30,000 kilometres an hour, so if they hit, they can make quite a mess. Congestion in mainly the low Earth orbit is only going to increase. The good news, though, is that a lot of countries and companies that launch satellites are working to improve the situation. They're trying to recover more parts of rockets and developing ways of clearing space junk out of orbit. Next time you're outside at night, especially not long after sunset, see how many satellites you can count, and then think about how many you might see in 10 years or even 15 years' time. Hopefully we'll come to treat the low Earth orbit as a finite resource and not waste it.